We haven't focused on NBA ratings in quite a while. I think the last time that I did a sole video just on NBA ratings was after Christmas, when the league set record lows in certain time slots and got absolutely trounced by the NFL. I have spent a lot of time this morning researching recent ratings for the NBA. And while I'm thinking about this, some of you guys ask me every time I talk about sports television ratings where I get them from. I usually start over at Sports Media Watch and then I'll double check with one or two other random sources. But normally, Sports Media Watch is on point when it comes to ratings in sports. I spent more time than usual this morning researching the recent ratings for the NBA because on the surface, if you just looked at percentages, the ratings look good. Not great, but they look good. Anytime I talk NBA ratings, I get accused by one or two NBA apologists of being overly negative about the league. It's not that I'm negative. It's not that I have a bias against the NBA. I like the NBA. When the league is firing on all cylinders, it is the second best league we have in the country. This season, I have watched less NBA basketball than at any other point in my life. Now, part of that is because my Pelicans suck. Zion Williamson, his face is on the side of a milk carton. No one can find the big fucker. Yesterday, David Griffin, he comes out and says, I am not sure when Zion will be back. We have actually sent search squads after him. He was last sighted at the Burger King over on Canal Street eating too many Whoppers. Now, the other reason I find myself watching less of the NBA, there is nothing exciting about the league right now. We'll get into that more in just a second. First, let's go ahead and dive into the ratings, and I'll tell you my thoughts. 2 weeks ago, Nets Warriors on ABC, Saturday night, prime time, drew 3.17 million. Now, that is a great number right now for the NBA. That's a great number. It actually peaked with over 4 million viewers. It was the most watched regular season game on ABC since 2019. This is the reason, and I say this all the time, and I'm going to continue to pound this point into the ground until the NBA marketing department gets their head out of their ass. But this is the reason the league needs to be centered around Steph Curry. James Harden didn't play in that game. Kevin Durant, he was hurt. He didn't play. The Nets had Kyrie Irving surrounded with scrubs. Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, they're no longer star players. And even with that being the case, over 3 million people tuned in. Why? Steph Curry. For the most part, Steph Curry has remained apolitical. He doesn't tweet his opinion every time a criminal pulls a gun or a knife on cops and naturally gets return fire. Steve Kerr, he's had his moments where he takes a bath in wokeness, but the Warriors are a team that America can get behind, the casual NBA fan can get behind. They're a great story. It's a story of redemption. But when you look at the majority of media coverage, what are they talking about when they talk the NBA? LeBron James and the Lakers sucking. I don't know what it's going to take for the league and the television networks to understand LeBron James is not the biggest draw in the NBA anymore. That's not my opinion. If you don't believe me, just look at the ratings. January 25th, Lakers Nets. It was the early game for the TNT doubleheader. They drew 1.5 million. They were the lead-in game for Warriors Mavs in the late slot. Warriors Mavs drew 300,000 more viewers than LeBron and the Lakers. Now, that rarely happens. Normally, the early game on TNT draws a bigger audience. Most people are close to going to bed, if not already in bed, by the time the late game tips off. Yet Steph Curry outdraws LeBron by 300,000 people. 2 nights later, Thursday night, same story. The Warriors, they were playing the fucking Timberwolves, hardly a team with a strong national following. The Lakers matched up against the Sixers, one of the legacy teams in the NBA. Steph Curry draws 1.7 million, LeBron 1.6. The Denver Nuggets, a team with young stars who have marketed correctly, could be a nice draw for the NBA. The Nuggets have been featured on ESPN or TNT 8 times so far this season. 4 of those 8 games, they've drawn less than 1 million viewers. The reigning champs, the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis, supposedly a superstar. 2 weeks ago, he draws less than 800,000 viewers on TNT. I mentioned earlier that I spent more time than usual researching these ratings. Like I said, On the surface, it looks a little bit like the NBA is kind of resurging, at least in certain time slots. Ratings are up 81%, ratings are up 53%, ratings are up 49%. I'm not accusing Sports Media Watch of being biased. Don't take it that way. They are doing what they always do. They're comparing ratings now to 2021 and 2020, in some cases 2019. That is not outside the norm. That's what they do. But as you guys know, I like to put things into perspective. Look, it's great that the NBA is seeing double-digit increases in some time slots. It's better than what they've been doing the last 2 years, seeing double-digit losses. But that goes to one of my points. We are comparing current ratings to record lows. During the regular season last year, the NBA drew a 1.5 share, lowest in league history, lower than 2020's 1.8 share, which was also a record low. You go back just to 2018, TNT was averaging 1.7 million, ESPN 1.6 million. Now, we are seeing the reigning champs. Normally, when a franchise wins a title, they are thrust into the national spotlight. Yet we're seeing the Bucks draw less than 800,000 viewers. What does that tell you? Giannis is not a draw. That doesn't mean I'm blaming him. There are numerous factors that go into creating stars, but it's just the truth. Giannis is not a draw. Let's compare NBA ratings to a couple of other things. Let's look at college basketball first. Who are the biggest stars right now in college basketball? Do you know? Can you name 3, 4, 5 college basketball players? I can sit here and rattle off 20 NBA players off the top of my head. I can't give you the names of 5 college basketball players. The sport hasn't had a superstar since Zion Williamson was at Duke. Before that, you probably had to go back over a decade to find another superstar in college basketball. I mention that because there is absolutely no reason college basketball should be drawing better ratings than the NBA or even comparable ratings to the NBA. College football doesn't outdraw the NFL. College baseball damn sure doesn't outdraw Major League Baseball. In terms of star power, there is no comparison between college basketball and the NBA. Yet Auburn, Kentucky draws 2.5 million. A couple of weeks ago, the 4 games on ESPN on Saturday averaged 1.5 million, a number which is comparable to what the NBA draws on the network. Kentucky, Kansas, they drew the largest audience, 2.2 million. When is the last time an NBA game on ESPN during the regular season, not the playoffs, during the regular season, when is the last time an NBA game on ESPN drew over 2 million people? I don't know. Ohio State, Purdue, 2.3 million on CBS. Let's look at WWE ratings. I know the WWE is not a sport. I know it's a weird comparison to the NBA. But the reason I compare WWE ratings to the NBA, both are heavily reliant on star power. Both have to have marketable, likable stars in order to draw ratings. The NBA, they have a likable superstar in Steph Curry. They just refuse to use him. They refuse to get behind him 100% because they can't get over their love affair with LeBron James. The WWE, they don't have any stars yet. They are drawing between 1.6 and 1.8 million on USA. Damn near the same as the NBA is drawing on cable, if not more. The question is, why? Why is the NBA struggling to draw an audience? It wasn't that long ago, the league was averaging between 4 and 5 million on ABC. They were hitting 2.5 million on TNT, damn near 2 million on ESPN. Now, besides the obvious, which is Adam Silver steering the Titanic directly into the social justice iceberg, besides that, why is the NBA struggling? On Monday mornings during the NFL regular season, what is everyone talking about? The games on the field. When does the NBA make headlines? The trade deadline, free agency, the draft, the playoffs. We go through 6 months of the regular season, and we don't talk about the NBA on the court until the playoffs. The league has allowed the players to make the regular season meaningless. I'll tell you the problem with that. By the time we get to the playoffs, casual fans aren't emotionally invested. They haven't followed a team through the journey of the regular season. We get to April, and they're just learning the starting 5. Without the emotional investment, the casual fan loses interest. It's one of the reasons that we've seen record low playoff ratings in the last 2 years. My brother in law, he is a huge fan of the Los Angeles Lakers. On several occasions, he has told me that he's more entertained by the NBA off the court than watching the actual games themselves. Another reason the NBA is struggling, they have become a highlight driven league. This is a clip driven league. People don't sit down anymore and watch a full regular season game in February. They check the highlights instead. Back in the 80s and the 90s, the NBA was averaging between a 4 and a 5 share. That means 4 to 5% of TV sets in America were watching the NBA. Now, Michael Jordan had a lot to do with that, but that was the league average. That was not the Jordan average. Even the few years after Jordan retired, the NBA was still hitting over a 3 share. That was largely Kobe Bryant and the Lakers, Shaquille O'Neal. The NBA, they have hit over a 3 share or at a 3 share twice since 2000. When was that? The 2 years after LeBron James left Cleveland for Miami and became the biggest heel in the NBA. Fans had someone to hate. They had someone to boo. They had someone they wanted to watch lose. It was good heat, not the go-away heat LeBron James has now. In the span of 10 years, the NBA has lost over 50% of its audience. And they fall back, the media, they fall back on the same tired excuse. People are not watching linear television anymore. Even though streaming, even though out-of-home viewership numbers have been included in the ratings the last 2 years. Even with Nielsen and the mainstream media boosting ratings, the NBA is still struggling to draw. The talent is there. The potential superstars are there. Yet the bulk of the marketing centered around an aging LeBron James, a player that has pissed off over half the population. Someone they've tried for the last 20 years to compare to Michael Jordan and has never come close to being Michael Jordan. In the past, if legacy teams in the NBA were in the playoff hunt, ratings for the regular season would be good and the playoffs would be good. And when I say legacy teams, I'm talking Knicks, Celtics, Bulls, Sixers, Lakers. 4 of those 5 teams were in the playoffs last year. Still had low ratings, record low ratings for the regular season. They need to market this league around Steph Curry and the Warriors, with teams like Utah, Denver, Phoenix, Dallas trying to knock them off in the Western Conference. Forget about LeBron James. The ingredients are there. You don't fucking need LeBron. But they won't do that. They're not going to do that. Coming out of the All-Star break in a couple of weeks, it is going to be all about LeBron James and the Lakers just trying to make the damn playoffs, and they'll ignore everyone else. Let me know what you guys think. NBA ratings up double digits from record lows in some time slots, but still struggling to draw and sustain a large audience. What do you think? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.